Stay tuned to learn how to make these really quick and easy plant hangers, and even learn how to actually hang them up on your ceiling. So before we get this party started, you know what to do. Hit subscribe, hit that bell notification so that you don't miss any of my new videos. Now let's get right into it. The first supply you're going to need is some strong metal rings. I have this one. These are 1.5 inch, so those are perfect. A pair of scissors, a yarn needle, some regular yarn, doesn't matter what color, I just chose that one, some crafting cord, and a measuring tape. We have to start with getting a metal ring ready. I have no idea why that took so long. Now take your crafting cord and measure out 4 10-feet pieces. Once you have your 4 pieces, you're going to string it onto your metal ring and fold it in half so that you'll have 8 pieces of string hanging down. Now here's your 8 pieces hanging down here. Now go back up to the top where your metal ring is. You're going to tie a knot underneath the metal ring. Next, after I tie the knot, I take my color yarn, just regular worsted weight yarn, or is it worsted? Whatever. I tied a knot around one string. Once I tied my knot to secure it, I just started wrapping. Once I got to a good stopping point, I cut the yarn. And then I strung the end onto my yarn needle. Then I took that end and I secured it into the crafting cord. At this point, I was thinking that I needed another color, so I did that same thing for these next 2 colors. Now we're going to start putting some knots in these. So what I like to do is just take them all, these strings, and just like separate them into twos. Once I separated these into 4 sets of twos, I took one set of twos, went down 17 inches, and I made a knot. Now repeat that for the other 3 sets. Now try your best to keep them even. Now this was my downfall. When I took all the strings and I like gathered them all together, I really did not keep them straight. That kind of didn't help me in the end, but it actually worked out and it was just fine. But just in your case, make sure you keep all the strings correctly in their right place and don't squish them all together. Now, like I said, the second set of knots, this could be your triumph or your downfall. It's important that you keep them straight and make sure each knot is next to each other where they're supposed to be placed. Now straighten out the strings. Now take this end string and take this end string and just flip them out of the side. We don't need them for right now. And as you can see, these 2 knots are next to each other. So we're going to take one piece from that knot and one piece from that knot, and we're going to tie those together. Now you see that design that it creates? Now we're going to repeat that 2 more times. Now we have these 2 end pieces and we're going to knot those 2 together because this creates the circle effect of our plant hanger. Now once I was done with the knots, I tried to keep it as straight as possible. This could have been a part that I messed up at, but again, make sure your knots are straight. Now from here, we're going to do the same design that we did on top. I started with the darker one and then I'm going to go lighter until I get to the very end, and it's going to match the top part. At this point, I decided to cut the ends. Now let's go hang this bad boy up. But first, let me explain to you these Ook Swag hooks. I don't always call it a swag hook, but whatever. Let me explain these things to you. You come with these 3 pieces. You got this butterfly thing, you got this big screw, and then you have the actual hook itself. with its little screw hole in the back. You don't want to take this thing and squeeze it together and put it in the ceiling like that. You don't want to do that. Dear goodness gracious. So what you want to do, you see this part where it actually folds at? That's the part that goes up in the ceiling. You can even take that part, stick it up on the ceiling and make an imprint to let you know how big you'll need your hole. So you're going to take this little bolt thing, the screw, and you're going to just twist it into the middle there. There's a little circle that you're supposed to get it into to keep it. You see that? So you're going to screw it into that spot right there. And you're not going to screw it all the way up because you need some room to work with. Just a little bit, enough that it's on there. So once you made your hole in your ceiling, you are going to squeeze this part together and you're going to stick it up in that hole. It sounds so dirty, but you're going to stick that up there and then it's going to open up, and that flat part is going to make it so that it doesn't come back out. And then once it's in the hole, you're going to screw that little hook, swag hook on. And when you're doing that, you are going to screw it all the way on because it only has a little bit of room. And then from there, once you start twisting this thing, all you're doing is twisting the bolt itself into the little clip and squeezing and screwing it up into the hole in the ceiling so that it's flush with the ceiling. And it's going to cover, because you have to make a really big hole. This swag hook is wide enough where it covers up that big hole. So don't get worried when you see a big hole and you're like, oh my God, there's a big hole in my ceiling. Don't worry, the swag hook is going to cover all that. And it's easy as that. It really is easy. You don't need a drill or anything like that. You can use a screwdriver to do it. But in my case, I did have a drill and I just made the hole bigger. Excuse my chin. I hope everybody can see this. I already took my Sharpie and I made a little dot right there. I took the biggest drill bit I can find with this Ryobi and I put that on there. Be brave, you can do this, girls. So I put the drill bit onto this hole and I just went at it. And it's a little hole. It's not enough to fit the butterfly clip thing. And when I pushed it up on the ceiling, it actually made a little mark so that I know how big I need to make the hole. And I just kept using the drill bit and just widening out this hole a little bit more. Now that I made that mark, let's get to work. And this dust is going to make you sneeze. Now I discovered that this hole is big enough. Now I can take that long screw it in on the bottom, making sure I have the butterfly clip in the right position. Make sure we screw that in just a smidge. Now we can push that up all the way until we hear it pop open. Boop. And then when you pull it down, it's not coming down at all. That gets a thumbs up. I got some insulation on there. Whoops. Take your swag hook, and what you're going to do is, while you're holding onto the screw at the same time, you are going to twist the swag hook on, and you know that you got it on when you twist it more than like 3 or 4 times. Once it's tight, you see that there's this little space there. That's when we're going to take and screw it into the butterfly clip. And in order to get it in there correctly, we have to pull down on it to make sure it's secure, and then we're going to twist it until the swag hook is flush with the ceiling. Once you assess that it is all the way screwed in and it's not going anywhere, let's put our hanging basket up. Yes, I overdid it a bit, but it still held up. And now you can do your celebration dance because you did it yourself. Now, I wasn't doing this video to show you how to put your plant into your hanging basket. If you don't know how to do that, then you shouldn't do a hanging basket. Just saying, don't make a mess. So anyway, I love how this turned out. The knots were easy. They were hard to keep them separated, but I was able to put them up fairly easily, and I really totally enjoyed this project. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video.